Good afternoon and welcome to the Federal Executive Forum celebrating 19 years of profiling excellence in government IT mission programs. I'm Luke McCormack. During today's show, we will discuss best practices with IT modernization programs and strategies in the federal government. With me on today's show are Jeff Seaton, Chief Information Officer at NASA, Sylvia Burns, Chief Information Officer, FDIC, Dale Chittister, Deputy Chief Information Officer, Central Intelligence Agency, Guy Cavallo, Chief Information Officer, OPM, Ken Gonzalez, Director of Solutions Architecture, Public Sector at Verizon, Heidi Kobilski, Vice President, Federal Civilian, Microsoft, and Jonathan Albom, Federal CTO at ServiceNow. We have an incredible amount of horsepower on this panel today between our agencies and our partners, and certainly a lot of work that's going on. We've come on a journey, right? We started with data center consolidation, cloud migration. Next thing you know, we've got a cyber executive order, and then we've got some AI executive orders and customer experience, all these things sort of working our way up the food chain. Jeff, we're going to start with you, and our condolences to Ingenuity, by the way, and congratulations. That was an incredible run there. Just amazing that you can be flying a helicopter on Mars. There's an absolute explosion of commercialization going on over at NASA. Tell us about sort of where you all are in regards to modernizing that environment to keep up with all this demand.
I'd like to start taking a step away from the technology, because one of the things we're trying to do is really focus on transforming NASA, transforming the business. And to do that, we've actually had to transform our organization. So we're shifting from a federated model of operating across IT to more of an agency NASA-wide model, so that we can have integrated plans for modernization across the infrastructure. Another shift we're trying to make is actually talking less about modernization and more about transformation. So as we take a look at the technology across the agency that supports so many of our missions, yes, it needs to be updated and upgraded and modernized, but that creates an opportunity to truly transform how the agency works. And so thinking about modernization as transformation within the agency. So then from that, we have developed roadmaps. Those roadmaps aren't just in my organization, but across all the organizations. Where are we trying to go with our technology infrastructure that supports our missions, and creating digital transformation plans? So each organization, centers as well as mission support organizations, have developed these visions, this transformational plan to lead them into the future that then we can collaborate on. So it starts with that vision and planning for where we're trying to go, leveraging the advances in technology to help transform the agency.
Yeah, you really need to have that sort of North Star there, if you will, in order to align all those capabilities and resources. So we really appreciate that top line. Sylvia, you've now been at FDIC, I think about 4 years as a CIO, if I remember right.
You got it.
Building a lot of pieces and parts over there, like you often do, as far as building your organization and quietly and confidently building out this capability. Let's hear about it.
Yeah, I mean, so we started our cloud journey a number of years ago, since the agency adopted Office 365 and moved email into the cloud. I think that was in 2017 before I got to the agency. We've just been continuing that journey, and it's really about kind of people, processes, and technology. It's not just about the technology, right?
Sure.
And I think increasingly, like it's clear to us that it's also about data, because like modernization without looking at the data and how you're orchestrating the data kind of underneath, and then that goes with business processes. So Jeff talks about transformation. A lot of modernization, really, the underlying thing is really the business transformation. And the data then that flows from the business and then feeds into how do you want to be doing your business using modern systems. So we have been continuing our journey. It's just like making more incremental progress in completing some really big, important things for our mission, but also establishing our cloud infrastructure, establishing our data environment, while we're grappling with what everybody is grappling with around AI and how is AI going to affect us. How do we want to use it in a way that optimizes value and controls risks? And then I think something important that we're doing is on the process side of things, because I think some of the hardest things about modernization have to do with people and change. We are trying to adopt agile, DevSecOps, product management. These are very new concepts for many, although it's like not new concepts in the industry or in some parts of government. It's relatively new at the FDIC, these concepts. And I'm trying to get those things accelerated. So we're piloting some things, and we've got an agile working group going. This is about how do we transform how we do our business. DevSecOps is the same thing. How do we do development in a modern way, instead of it being kind of this waterfall approach. So our journey continues, and we're making terrific progress. I'm really proud of my team and what they've been able to accomplish, and we still have a really long way to go.
Modernizing in a modern way. We love it. We appreciate you being on the show. Dale, once upon a time, there was C2S. Now you're well on your way with C2E. You've got a global footprint out there. We are more than eager to hear what the state of the state is as far as your transformation.
Yeah, thanks. Legacy tech debt is all of our challenges. Over the last 10 years, our agency has been moving from that legacy on-premise, in our own data centers capabilities to moving toward that cloud-based capability that C2S originally provided. And now with C2E being able to bring multiple cloud vendor capabilities to the top secret fabric is huge for the intelligence community. So this has allowed both our enterprise and our mission IT to start modernizing their infrastructure, moving out of that legacy on-prem solution that when we start, it's always with good intentions. And then over time, we all know how that goes with shrinking budgets and resources. So allows us to ensure that our infrastructure stays up to date. It's more scalable, more flexible, better levels of security, and we're able to take advantage of the innovation that our commercial partners are providing as we move into the commercial cloud enterprise contract.
Really outstanding partnership that you all have created there with multiple vendors. So hats off to the partners and to you all and the entire IC community. Guy, like Sylvia and the others, you had to go in there and sort of clean up on aisle 9 and sort of rebuild and get yourself out of that technical debt situation. But all of a sudden, I think about when I think about OPM, I think about customer experience, et cetera. And I know you're on that journey as well. Give us a state of the state.
All right. Thank you, Luke. And it's great being on this panel with us. With Jeff and Sylvia led off on transformation and data. We're doing the exact same thing at OPM. Last year, I launched a 2-year sprint to the cloud, which first I announced with the CIO team, and then I took it to the leadership team. It was fun watching all the jaws drop on my team's side. That guy must be crazy.
The North Star, right?
Yeah, it's 2 years to get there. So we're in year 2 right now, and I'm proud to say that we're well on our way. We've moved our, like Sylvia highlighted, we built the infrastructure last year so that we were ready to move. We've moved cyber to the cloud. We're moving actual applications to the cloud. In fact, Jeff, for NASA, I know we're working with NASA on their upcoming astronaut annual request for people, and we're going to delay our migration to make sure that we don't interfere with that. But we're talking about the major systems of OPM being in the cloud, over the next year, and allowing me to totally get out of data centers, which is tremendous. And several of us already talked about the advantages of it. Whenever possible, we're not doing lift and shift. We're rewriting, we're changing, we're going from hosting server-based databases on premise to using cloud-native databases, which right off the bat, that means we're no longer patching them. We're no longer 2 or 3 versions behind because everybody was too busy. It's going to be current all the time. So we're really looking at that as being a cyber benefit in the future as more zero-day events happen. And as I said, instead of worrying about doing upgrades, what you highlighted, Luke, now we can focus on the mission and delivering a better customer experience. Another new project that we're doing is Congress mandated that the postal health benefit, postal system employees get their own new health benefit system. It was written into the Postal Reform Act. We have to deliver that this year. So we are delivering a whole new cloud-based health benefit system for all postal workers that will go live for this open season. Again, a lot of people missed that in the postal reform, but what it allowed me to do was replace the legacy federal health benefit system with a new cloud-based approach that we hope to leverage going forward and impacting all employees. So like you said, Luke, transformation is going on everywhere and enjoying the journey, and OPM is making great progress.
Hats off to OPM for unlocking that capability to our dear friends over at the Postal Service. Ken, when we think about Verizon, we think about wide area networks, we think about big pipes, we think about wireless networks, but you all are much bigger than that. Give us a sort of a top line on how Verizon is using their technology to help unlock these capabilities across these agencies.
Thank you very much. And first, I would like to start with we are truly honored of being part of this forum, and more importantly, of the trust that we have to earn while working with all the agencies and all supporting their missions. And the first thing is, we don't have a mission. Our mission is their mission. And by saying that, each one of the agencies and organizations that we work on are at different stages, and they are going through a transformation process that is unique to them. And we have to recognize that. And by recognizing that, we are able to try to make this transparent. What I mean is, when the networks work really well, they are not a problem. Nobody thinks about them, right? So we are in a little bit of a journey in which we are trying to go agency by agency, understanding what their transformation requires. And where that is wireline, that applies. When that is wireless, we try to bring the new technologies such as 5G and all the different elements that come into play to be able to move the data from where it was into where it is, and doing so transparently. Also, while taking care of the massive amount of data that is produced. As we progress and as we move into this journey, there is more data being produced. What are we doing with that data? How is that data flowing? And how do we make it so the user and everybody on the mission is able to leverage the power of the network to make the transformation successful? So key here is their mission, and we are happy to support it in every way we can. Number two, technology is there in the network side to make sure that IT systems and all the things that are being put in place become transparent to the end user. And that is really what Verizon is about. This is about using the power of the network that we have and the resources that we have, and helping customers go above the network to support their mission.
Really do appreciate everything Verizon is doing to partner with these various agencies. Speaking of partners, Heidi, I believe that, well, I'm pretty sure I know that Microsoft is the largest cloud provider for the federal service, and we appreciate that. You all are in a unique position there to assist these agencies. Can you give us an example of where you're doing that?
So I would just say that what I love what I heard, especially from the CIOs, about starting with where they are. And I think we're working with FDIC, we're working with NASA, we're working with OPM, and we start with where the agency is. You heard the mega effort it takes from culture to everything else. And so I would just say that we start with where the agency is. And the unique thing that we provide is that we're already and have been longtime partners, just like Verizon and others. And so we start with where the agency is. So we are working with just about every agency in the federal service. And I would say, I love what Jeff said too. We start with the end in mind. And so really trying to tie what is the purpose? What is the real purpose of this modernization? We're not just doing it for the sake of doing it. What are we trying to transform and change and keep up with and keep pace with? But also, how are we helping the agency transform so they can continue to provide the next generation of capabilities, both to their internal employee base and workforce to attract and retain talent, as well as to keep up with what the citizens demand. And so it starts with the basic components: identity, storage, networking, security, all those things that agencies have. And then really we start the conversation with every agency in terms of let's start with the end in mind. What does the end look like? And then to Jeff's point, we work together to build a roadmap phased over time on how are we going to get you to that North Star that you're trying to build to. And I think that's what has uniquely positioned Microsoft, is that we already provide the basic ingredients to get there. And it's, as we all know, it's not necessarily that technology is the only solution. It's bringing all of those people and processes together to bring the end in mind to life. And I think that's where we've seen some of the best results with agencies modernizing and on that journey.
Outstanding. Jonathan, talk about modernizing in a modern way. You certainly are building a capability over there at ServiceNow to unlock these capabilities for all these various agencies to address these customer needs and do it very quickly and very securely. You've got a unique position where you're striped across a lot of different agencies, seeing a lot of different things. Give us a top line as to where ServiceNow is being incorporated to bring these folks on their journey.
Yeah, thanks, Luke. At this point in ServiceNow's journey in the federal government, we're in most agencies.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of agencies brought ServiceNow in originally as a tool for IT service management or, some IT capabilities. And, that's part of the history of this company. But really, when ServiceNow was founded, it was founded as this platform for transformation. We've used that word many times. And the ServiceNow platform is built to connect things, just like Heidi was describing. There's lots of things in the environment that need to be connected to create a cohesive and comprehensive customer experience, whether that's an external customer or an internal customer. And more ServiceNow customers are pivoting from using ServiceNow strictly in an IT space to using ServiceNow as that platform for these transformations in their agencies. And it takes a lot of different forms, right? Sometimes it's looking at existing processes that cut across lots of individual systems, different systems of record, or processes that were, built in email or spreadsheets or whatnot, and using the platform and the workflow capabilities, the AI capabilities, and other great technologies built into the platform as, as the engine to really digitize that transformation, digitize that process, transform it in a way that makes it easier for everyone to interact, understand the status of an action, to track work, or for a citizen to make a request of an agency, or another agency to make a request of an agency. And those kinds of modernization projects are very common, at this point in with ServiceNow customers. And really, it's that opportunity to change the way people interact with the existing technologies, creating a modern user experience, a mobile experience, using ServiceNow, but not necessarily having to replace all of the underlying systems. Once you create the process and people have a better customer experience, a CIO at that point has a lot more control over how those underlying systems may be replaced or upgraded or changed over time. You're not necessarily focused on, I have to change things immediately to give people a better experience or change the way people interact with these technologies. I think it's a scenario where the CIO or the IT organization becomes the provider of a great service, and then underlying, no one has to see how complex it can be, but as CIOs and IT leaders, we know we're trying to decrease complexity, make it less, make it easier to manage and run these applications. And you can do that on your schedule, on your terms, and in a way that's invisible, hopefully, to the people who rely on those applications.
Absolutely, and a nice modern platform to sort of reel these cuff systems in and encourage these entities to get on board, so to speak. All right, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back. You're listening to the Federal Executive Forum on Federal News Network. Welcome back to the Federal Executive Forum on Federal News Network. We are talking about IT modernization. We've got a lot of horsepower on this panel. We're going to talk about a specific example. Guy, I'm going to ask you to highlight an example. You had a lot of activity going on there. Give us one you'd like to highlight for the audience about what's happening at OPM.
Oh, sure. Thank you, Luke. Definitely I can talk about our legacy system migrations to the cloud and replacing those. But
that's table stakes, Guy. Come on.
That's the easy stuff. When I joined OPM, we were in the middle of COVID and everybody was home. And I immediately discovered that we had about 5 or 6 productivity collaboration tools in place, with none of them running across the enterprise. So we didn't even have a way for everybody to talk with each other or to share. So I immediately went with a major productivity suite and made sure that we had that for everyone. And what I've seen with that since then, Luke, is OPM isn't all just in DC. We have offices all across the country. So we're always going to have hybrid meetings, even if everyone went back to an office. Mm-hmm. So not only with that, I also replaced all of our legacy phone systems. It's like, okay, if we're going to be use productivity tools, let's use the full suite of what we have. So I was able to replace like 7 legacy phone systems. And what I've seen OPM do with this is now we don't do audio calls anymore. Everybody just clicks a button and we immediately go into a video call. And then If we bring somebody else in, we click on a button and bring somebody else in. And why we're in this dispersed work environment, which as I highlighted, is always going to be there because of our remote offices. I see the impact on the employees and the productivity, being able to share and collaborate much more. So COVID allowed us to jumpstart that, and now it's a tool that we all use.
Fantastic, and then I'm sure that your user base really does appreciate that. Heidi, I'm going to go over to you. Every time I log on to a Microsoft environment, I'm seeing these advanced AI capabilities, et cetera, and I know you all are using a lot of that to incorporate into your goods and services. Can you give us an example of how that is aiding the agencies to modernize?
So I think the way that we look at AI as the next step in all of our customers' journeys for modernization is as a tool to be an assistant aid. And I sort of joke that the first iteration of AI that is likely to be made available to federal agencies by their CIOs is all around sort of bringing a chief of staff to every employee with the capabilities that AI is going to deliver within the tool sets that customers already have, like Office 365. So I would just say, I think the first iteration is going to be leveraging Azure OpenAI, which enables customers to use ChatGPT-like services within a secured Azure space. And most agencies are starting with pilots and prototypes to see where they could augment modernization and automation capabilities. And then it's going to expand out to the productivity suite, like Guy talked about. And really, it's going to start with being an aid to augment some of what we call the mundane tasks. So things like, recording a Teams call and letting it tell you a summary of what happened during the call, or using AI to help summarize a PowerPoint presentation with Copilot. So there's so many capabilities that we're bringing within the tool sets that every agency already uses. And I think the place to start with is where are the key areas that an agency might want to pilot and prototype. And a lot of those are actually coming from the mission. And actually OPM is probably leading the way more than any other at the moment. And so maybe Guy can talk a little bit about that as well.
Really do appreciate that. Jeff, we're going to roll up to you. And you gave us an absolute fantastic sort of North Star direction that NASA is headed. Would you like to give us a specific example that you'd like to highlight that sort of ties into where you all are going?
Sure. Yeah. And Guy gave a great example of sort of the internal transformation and business processes leveraging technology. I'm going to give a customer facing one, because as CIOs, we're looking at both internally how we operate, but also how we're connecting with our customers, I think. And so NASA's got a great portfolio, a diverse portfolio of missions across science and exploration and aeronautics and technology. And so there's a lot of information, a lot of data, a lot that we need to share. And so we do that through the web, through our websites, through the way that the public, that our partners can connect with us. And to be quite honest, our web experience was getting pretty long in the tooth, right? Back in the day, we may have been on the forefront, but we weren't keeping up with technology. And so over the last couple of years, partnering across the agency, we've really worked to modernize the web experience. On a break, we were talking about some of the launches. How does the public understand and connect to a launch? Well, everybody can do that through the nasa.gov website and the web experience. And so modernizing and consolidating our websites, right? So not so many to make it easier for the public to find interesting information that NASA has. Also, a lot of the world is connecting through video today, right? And so we have NASA TV. Well, NASA TV doesn't get to a lot of people, right? You have to have a cable TV network or a network that actually carries it. And so moving from that legacy distribution model to a streaming distribution model, and we call that NASA Plus. And so NASA Plus is now available as a streaming service where people can actually connect to the excitement of NASA missions. So modernizing the customer experience, leveraging modern technology to connect the mission of NASA to everybody around the world. That's been one of the most exciting things in the last year that we have released.
And as a big consumer of NASA Plus, I must say, just absolutely fantastic capability. There's so many awesome things that NASA is doing. It's great that they make it easy to channel that out to the community to be able to absorb. Jonathan, let's talk about capabilities at ServiceNow. Give us an example of an area that you'd like to highlight, whether it be a technology you're striping across capabilities or a specific agency.
Sure. So, when you think about ServiceNow, there's workflows for technology, IT service management, or HR service delivery, customer workflows. But the ServiceNow platform is available to customers as a low-code capability, and we have a lot of our modernization projects, the kinds that I was describing before, where there are plethora of systems in the environment, and the agency wants to create a modern experience that connects data, connects systems. Those are built using ServiceNow's application engine, automation engine, and a lot of the tools around our creator workflows suite. So one example that comes to mind, and this is just one of many examples, is an agency in the DoD, and like many large complex organizations, they relied on ERP systems. SAP in this case was critical to many of their processes, including an invoice process that was rather clunky. And this agency was already a ServiceNow customer. They began to use these creator workflows to create low-code applications to change the way they do their work. And one of these projects involved taking the SAP integrations and wrapping them in ServiceNow. So ServiceNow becomes the place that people go to perform invoicing transactions. It's the place that people go to do other financial applications. And of course, ServiceNow is not a financial management system. It's not an invoicing system, but it's that centralized place that people go to engage. It's the system of action. And in this case, it changed the way people interacted with SAP, creating a much more streamlined approach to access data and capabilities in a really important critical application for this agency. So we're changing the way that people interact with core technologies and making it simpler for them to do their jobs. And again, as I shared earlier, in this case, the agency doesn't have to swap out the ERP. They don't have to make major changes. They just have to create an engagement layer using ServiceNow, a tool that they already have, to change the interaction and create more options for people to interact. So it's a very common approach to modernization using a platform that's in most agencies.
Fantastic, putting a nice little wrapper around a capability that already exists and enhancing the experience. I love it. Dale, how about at the Central Intelligence Agency? 10 years to get out of that technical debt. It's always a journey. You want to give us a specific example that you can highlight in the public square?
Yeah,
that,
sure.
You'd like to
appreciate that.
Bring to the
So
audience?
I'll build a little on what Guy and Jeff touched on. While the pandemic certainly challenged all of us from an IT perspective, one of the benefits that it brought to the CIA was the use of virtual communication and collaborations. For an agency that lives and dies by trust, face-to-face engagements, the pandemic challenged us because we were no longer able to do that. And to say it was a challenge to get our counterintelligence, physical security, cybersecurity, and operational elements to agree to have capabilities like UCC available to everyone was definitely an opportunity for us. So UCC has fundamentally changed the way CIA does business. While face-to-face meetings have started to return, this capability has augmented the way we do business. It's allowed us to expand collaboration and partnership in meetings that probably weren't available before the pandemic, and has been just an extremely valuable tool. So while it's still a challenge from a cyber and physical security perspective, it's just been a huge value to the way we do business and the way I think we'll continue to do business, both at CIA and across the community.
Fantastic, and I'm sure the operations folks really do appreciate that capability. Ken, how about at Verizon? Specific example you'd like to highlight?
So we have been working for quite some time with the United States Postal Service, and we have been helping them through a transformation journey, particularly on their contact center. When people think about the Postal Service, they think about an agency, but they also think about an organization that serves the citizen very directly, right? And when you think about the ability for you to call to get your mail redirected or things like that, people don't have the tendency not to grasp the massive amount of infrastructure and work that has to be able to support all the citizens in the United States and outside. So we have been taking them through a transformation journey where their multiple contact centers, they have more than 16 contact centers, where all premise based. 16 different contact centers, the ones that are customer facing when you call 1-800 USPS, all the way to the ones where you want to get your machine fixed and IT support. All of these contact centers live on a platform that had been managed by Verizon, and now we have earned the right to go and transform that into the network and everything that comes with it. The flows that the contact center have into existing systems, all the way to the telephony hooks that allow a user to pick up the phone and be in a contact center agent no matter where they are within the organization, whether they're sitting at home, which happens to be one of the cases that we have to quickly pivot during COVID, all the way to the folks who have the regular job, but they are a subject matter expert on something else, and they are able to pick up a phone call or react to a ticket or anything where they may provide the matter expertise that is required. So this is going to be a multi-year and multi-step process to get them there all the way to the cloud. But the elasticity and the ability for them to react and pretty much be able to provide a better service for the users is fantastic. And all this ties into the telephony platform. People don't realize that the telephony platform that the United States Postal Service has supports more than 200,000 users. And that platform, that IP telephony platform, goes beyond simply serving and providing telephony. It integrates to their conferencing system, integrates where their contact center system, all the hooks and things that allow a user to communicate perfectly, whether they are using a video conferencing and they need to make a call out, all the way to they need to be able to receive a phone call from and become a contact center agent. This has been a very great journey and partnership, and it is being successful because of the ability that we have had to work with an agency and a customer who sees us as a partner and not just a vendor. When we understand their objectives and when we are in a position to make their mission our mission.
Always makes it a better experience, and we appreciate that seamless capability that you've put together over there. Sylvia, you all have been doing a lot of different pieces and parts as you had described. We'd love to hear about a specific program you'd like to brag about that perhaps you've gotten over the fence, or you're getting ready to get over the fence, or you're planning on getting over the fence.
Well, we got a number of things over the fence that I'm super proud of, but I'm actually going to key off of something new that we're doing. And that is last year we stood up leveraging kind of the multiple low code, no code platforms that we have. We launched a citizen development program.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, so we have actually over 100 citizen developers. So this was not the kind of wild, wild west, anybody gets to do anything they want kind of citizen development. My team set up the governance. We set up the technical aspects of the platform. We provide training. We just recently launched a playbook and a website internally to basically talk about, do you want to be a citizen developer? And part of this was the impetus was the demand for modernization is overwhelming. And my group has to do the major modernizations, right, that are for enterprise-wide systems because of complexity. But there are many, many things that we could allow citizen developers to take on without having to be kind of the ones who actually have hands-on keyboard. If we provide the guardrails, we provide the technology, we provide training, ensure they're certified, that nobody gets into trouble, then we can let people self-serve. So that's been something that we have been promoting. We started it in earnest last year and have made really great accomplishments there. And there's some really cool things that the citizen developers have developed. The other thing I think that we're trying to promote as part of this is reuse. So we don't need to have people be building the same thing over and over again. So we're actually leveraging things that we've learned from NSF and from other colleagues in the federal space to basically create an internal marketplace to let people see what has already been developed, what could you leverage that you don't have to do it over again. So it's the whole thing about what Gartner calls composable architectures and just promoting reuse. So we're doing technology smart.
That's fantastic. And that's a bold move to do that. And it really does avoid sort of those cuff systems from continuing to propagate, bringing them into an environment such as whether it's a ServiceNow or any of these other platforms. So hats off to you for doing that. All right, we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back. You're listening to the Federal Executive Forum on Federal News Network. Welcome back to the Federal Executive Forum on Federal News Network. We are talking about IT modernization. We are going to start talking about top priority for 2024. Dale, let's start with you. Number one priority.
So I guess our number one priority is really operationalizing our C2E contract. So although awarded 2 years ago, it's really starting to take advantage of the capabilities that have made themselves available on that C2E contract. Going from one CSP to 5, with 4 of them having classified capabilities, it's really making sure our organization understands what is available from each of the different vendors. How do we make sure that our workforce is prepared to take advantage of all of those capabilities as they make themselves available? How do we make sure that it touches on some of our other priorities on global resiliency or leveraging innovative technologies? C2E provides that solution set for us, but we really have to start taking advantage of it. So operationalizing C2E is probably one of our number ones because it just provides so much value and benefit as we move forward. Things like the AI, the generative AI, and all of the AI capabilities. Once those things become available on those classified fabrics, it'll change the way that the community is able to do business. And CIA, not only for our own use, but we hold the contract for the rest of the IC community. So making sure that that becomes available to everybody is critical to the success of not only CIA, but the entire community.
Enabling C2E, job one, Guy, number one priority for you at OPM this year.
Right, I've highlighted it already, but our sprint to the cloud year 2 is our number one priority. As we talked about earlier, that isn't just moving things willy-nilly. It's transforming, it's changing programming languages, it's moving to modern databases, it's enhancing the customer experience. And the one I haven't talked about yet, implementing AI into not only these legacy applications, but into cyber. So we're not building anything new, on premise. Everything new that we build at OPM since I've been here has gone to the cloud, and we're just moving the rest of the agency there. So all that transformation, customer experience enhancement, introducing AI, our sprint to the cloud, and really covers all of that, Luke.
As soon as you put them in that modern environment, you enable these modern capabilities. It's fantastic to hear this. Jeff, number one priority for you at NASA this year?
Yeah, I'll connect back to what I started off with, and it's really about digital transformation, and that breaks out into transforming engineering, building digital capabilities into how we do our engineering, transforming discovery, how we take advantage of the emerging AI capabilities as well as data to inform how we do our science and technology development, transform decision-making, how we leverage data to have more streamlined decision-making processes through analytics, and then transform operations, how we actually continue to evolve the underlying business processes, hybrid collaboration, external collaboration to securely share data with our partners, and really empower the workforce to be a digitally enabled team that's able to leverage capabilities and not just coming from my office, but infused across the agency. So it's truly digitally transforming NASA.
Yeah, NASA is really on a tear, and it's phenomenal to watch it. So hats off to everything that you all are doing over there, and the best of luck in unlocking all that capability. Sylvia, number one priority for you this year at FDIC?
I loved how you put it, Luke. So we're modernizing how we do modernization of the IT environment. And that means that, it's a huge workforce development issue about like investing in our people so that they can learn and, recruiting people who have skills and investing in our existing workforce to develop the skills that we need for the future. And that will help us with succession planning.
Sure.
So, we have an aging workforce and we want to make sure that we're sustainable and healthy long term. So I think that is the biggest thing that we have in front of us is, just doing our work in a modern way, getting the organization to be okay with concepts like doing product management and funding products versus projects. So it's a big leap. It's more that how we do our work is a big thing in the culture. All that.
It was a big step to do the citizen development, a bold move there. So hats off to you all for that. All right, drum roll, please. We're going to have to wrap it up here, and we always like to end with this last question, and that is sort of fast forward We used to say 3 to 5 years. Now I say 2+, simply because of the sort of hockey stick approach to the tectonic shift in this technology. Jonathan, start with you at ServiceNow. What do you expect to be doing 2 years from now? What's the demand signal coming in?
It's all about generative AI, and at ServiceNow, we're taking those Gen AI capabilities, and we've built our own domain-specific large language models, and we're applying those Gen AI capabilities into the ServiceNow workflows that everyone uses. So it drives the ability to really understand context and intent. It can synthesize information to create new information. And when you apply that into an end-to-end digital workflow, that workflow is going to be a lot more effective. You're going to be able to have fewer people in the loop to make those things work. You're going to be able to redeploy staff. You'll be able to provide better customer service. So we see all those things happening already in pockets, and it's just going to continue to grow. So the generative AI in general, creating that information through AI tools is great, but you have to be able to take that intelligence and make it actionable. And that's what we're doing on the ServiceNow platform.
Incorporating into those various tools. That's fantastic. Heidi, we're going to move away from chief of staff as a bot and get into some really sophisticated, intelligent capabilities over the next couple of years. What can we expect?
So I would say we envision a future in the next 2 years where government is agile, secure, and able to leverage the latest technologies embedded with AI and automation across the board, empowering the agency mission. And Microsoft is going to continue its commitment and investment in cloud services, AI, and cyber. And we're really investing deeply in federal engineering, compliance, and field resources to be able to support and enable the vision. And we aim to be the federal strategic partner for all agencies in navigating the IT landscape of the future.
Really appreciate that and look forward to it. Ken, you talked about a lot of sophisticated capability. What's the demand signal coming in from Verizon? Can we expect to see 6G, 7G? What's it going to be?
To be quite honest, our number one priority for the next years is going to make sure that agencies are able to implement a secure hybrid work environment in which 5G is no longer a technology that could be used, but it's actually a very big piece of what it is. And that means enabling connectivity for the end user and everyone that is that requires it in a way that is secure, and implementing and using AI as part of ways to securing that information. In other words, using the data that is available within the agencies and implementing those models into security to be able to react better to threats and defend, but also use AI in a more internal way where we help agencies that use the data they have to solve problems they need to solve today. And we also see a little bit more of quantum computing and quantum encryption coming into play, into the forefront. And right now, everybody's trying to figure out how and where will that come into play. But the reality is that we are in a race to make sure that we implement those technologies and we secure the network. So we expect to see more of quantum computing, we expect to see more of AI, and we expect to see more of 5G.
We're certainly looking forward to that. Guy, 2 years from now, you'll be immersed fully into the cloud. You'll be organically building in a modern way. What do you expect to be focusing on 2 years from now?
Right, look, it is going to be a little bit of work to get there.
Sure.
What I'm really seeing is that
you have the full faith and confidence in you, Guy.
Yes, what I see is that we're really going to enhance our citizens' experience, not only at OPM, but hopefully what I'm hearing from my peers across government. A citizen shouldn't have to know your org chart to be able to find something on your website. So OPM is making that transformation now because we're one of the agencies like that the citizens don't know that. It really has to focus on improving our delivery of services to our citizens while being more secure. So, what I'm seeing being transformed is we'll definitely be using more AI to help citizen, federal employees, retirees, health professionals get their information from OPM now. but we're also going to be using AI to better defend our borders, because our adversaries are going to use AI to attack us. The only way I see to counter that is to use AI. So really two things, Luke. I see us being much more customer-centric focused, but also more cyber secure, with AI helping us in both areas.
Yeah, being in that modern environment, you're going to incorporate a lot of that security, and then you'll be able to deliver some of those capabilities that you're describing there. And we really look forward to that. As an OPM user, I'm delighted to hear this, by the way, Guy. Dale, fast forward, I would imagine at 2 years plus, you'll have C2E fully realized, incorporated into the IC as far as use. What do you think you'll be spending your attention on at that point going forward?
Yeah, so thanks. I see.
I made a bold leap for you there, Dale. I think you're okay with that.
I am. So we're going to operationalize C2E, like I mentioned in the last segment. And what I see for the future is a mission partner that can utilize a best-in-breed capability from either one of our major CSPs, but to be honest, to go farther than that, one of our SaaS or PaaS providers.
Nice.
That capability exists on any one of the fabrics, from unclassified all the way up to top secret, to solve an intelligence problem at the speed that the commercial world can. This is the hope and the vision of what C2E promises. Is we have parity, technology parity with commercial world across the different landscapes, so that as problems arise, we can just leverage the best-in-breed capability to solve a problem. So we're working on those now. We've got a long way to go, but I think we can get there and overcome some of these challenges, so that our mission partners can take advantage of all the things that the commercial sector has to offer.
Really brilliant what you all have done with C2E and the incorporation of all that capability. So hats off to your entire community for making that available to the IC at large. Sylvia, fast forward 2 years from now, you'll have citizen development top to bottom. You're fully modernizing in a modern way. You've got a different type of culture going on over there. I know that's been a journey for you. What do you expect to be focusing your attention on 2 years from now?
Well, I really would love us to see a simple, elegant user experience that's driven through human-centered design, replacing manual processes and just a clunky, disjointed IT experience that people experience today. So everybody knows, I think, that, the simpler something you make something, actually, the harder it is behind the scenes, right? It's really complex to architect, something elegant and beautiful. But I think that is really what I'm hoping to achieve as time goes on, is that we get that.
Pull all the complexity out and sort of bring that into the back end and make that a rich user experience. You're right, very difficult to do. I know you're going to get there, and we are looking forward to it. Jeff, a lot of this activity going on at NASA. I can't even imagine 2 years from now. It's like 20 years. What do you think you'll be focusing what do you know you're going to be focusing your attention on 2 years from now?
Yeah, so actually, I was going to say something similar to Sylvia, right? So today, our technology can sometimes get in the way of our productivity, right? So driving that complexity out, replacing it with simplicity, even if, as CIO, we have to deal with the complexity, the experience of our customers is one that's simple, right? Cybersecurity continues to be a challenge, right? Sometimes our cybersecurity protections can be obtrusive. So having cybersecurity that's transparent and built into the fabric of how we operate, so that we really are focusing on enabling our workforce to, we have digital natives coming out of school today, right? So they have expectations of how technology can enable the work. And so really 2-3 years from now, we've got a workforce that is harnessing the capabilities of these modern technologies and tools that we've been talking about to really accelerate the success of the NASA mission. To me, that would be success as a CIO, that we're enabling even greater productivity and success in all of these incredible mission programs we have underway.
successful simplification, and we really do appreciate it and look forward to that. I want to thank all of you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us on this program. I want to thank our sponsors for supporting us on the show. I'd like to thank the good people here at Federal News Network that make this program so successful and enjoyable. And most of all, I'd like to thank the listening audience out there that tune in every month. You're listening to the Federal Executive Forum, part of the Federal News Network.